Hello, hello. I am back at it again with, surprise, another Fog of War sudoku that I took off of the pages of Cracking the Cryptic from a few days ago. But I really like these, and it's kind of hard to find Fog of War sudokus just lying around anywhere, so until I can find a better place to pull them, I guess I'm just going to occasionally post it when they show up. Okay, so all 5s in the grid must either have a 1 directly above it and or a 9 directly below it. The digits along each arrow must sum to the digit in the circled cell. There's a German whispers rule. And there's thermometer. Okay. Oh. So, first of all, we need to find where the 5 goes in this bottom row here. And it's clearly in one of 3 positions, because it can't be in any of those cells or these cells because of German whisper rules, which means there has to be a 1 and one of these above here. You can also follow the path of the German whispers to determine that at least all of these cells are lined up, which means that all 3 of these cells have the same parity, or the same number, whether it be like above 5 or below 5, and also in this group of 3, at least one of these 3 is going to have to be red, and since there's only 1 number left out of the 4 for the red to be, it has to be this middle one. Both of these are blue then, and since I know one of these is a 1, the reds must be highs, so I can do that. The 6 cannot be next to multiple, because they would have to all be 1, so this is a 6, which makes that a 1, this a 5. So, I have now determined that. Here's a 2, 3, 4, here's a 2, 3, 4, that can't be a 4 because we need to have 2 9s next to it. And I don't need the colors for either of these cells anymore. Both of these must be 1, 2, 3, or 4. And both of these must be 1, 2, 3, or 4, but there needs to be a 1 in one of these 2, so there's none in here. And one of these up here has to be a 1. These 2 cells are linked. Not sure if that's going to be able to help me yet, but I know that, which I also don't think is helpful, so I'm actually going to just eliminate it. If this is a 7 here, then these both need to be 2. Likewise, if this is a 7, these both need to be 2. Which is not possible, so I get that, a 2 here, and neither of these are 2, I will get rid of both of those. Okay, so I know for a fact one of these is a 2 though, which means one of these 3 up here is a 2. There can only be 1, 3, 4 maximum in there, but there's no way to determine if there is just 1 or there's multiple. In this clump here, I'm not sure if the German whisper increases to anywhere else, but I'm trying to determine if I should be going for 5s again. I don't think I should, because any of these 3 could be a 5, and this could be a 5. Because there's 1s up there, and there's a 9 potentially down here. So I don't think I can deduce any 5 locations yet. I haven't run into any thermometers or arrows. Yeah, alright. So currently I know that this one extends both of these directions. I do not have any reasonable evidence to suggest that those connect up. This has to be an 8 or a 9. Okay, so one of these, if this is a 4, one of these is a 4, which breaks, because then both of these would need to be 9, so that's a 3. And that means that there's no 4s here. So now I have that determined. Don't really need the color marking for any of that anymore. That's a thermometer, so it's not going to delimit the 1 at all. These two have to be opposite parities. Okay. Which means that one of these has to be high and the other has to be low. No matter which, well, this one actually can't be high and low because it has 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the same box, so that must be a 4. Then this is a 9, then that's an 8, so there's no 5 there. So one of these two is a 5, one of these two is a 5. That can't be a 1 anymore because it... Actually, I take it back, that could be a 1 because the 9 is down here. So... since one of these two is a 5, one of these two is a 1. And that 5 could either be linking down there or up there. Or both. This is going to now be a 6, 7 here, 5, 6, 7 there. And this is a 2, 3, 4 triple up here. So that makes this an 8, 9 pair down here. And this is a 5, 6, 7 triple as well. There's going to need to be... neither of these can be an 8, because if this was an 8, that had to be bigger than an 8, and this was an 8, that has to be a 9, so this is an 8. Which means no 5 there, so this is a 5, this has to be a sum. Okay, so this can... these two cells can either add up to 3 or 4, or the minimum they can add up to is 3, which means the maximum this can be is a 2, and the maximum these two can add up to is 4, so that's just... the largest these could be. This one can't be a 1, so this one can't be a 3. Okay. And this 5's already fine, so the 1 could be... well, the 1 actually has to be here because of the 2, 3 pair down there, so this is a 6, 7, that's a 7, 8. Now, these could include a 2 if this... actually, no, they specifically can't include a 2, because 2 here forces a 3 there, so this has to be a 1, and yeah, I could have deduced that even if there was a 2 here and a 1 here, neither of these could be a 1 because of that. So this has to be a 3 to solve that. Now then, where does 5 go in this row? Can't be, could be in any, no it can't because there can't be a 1 up here, the 1's up here. So none of these can be a 5 because none of these are a 9. This can't be a 1 because of that, so I actually can determine a 1 there. So none of these can be a 5 because none of these are a 9. One of these two has to be a 5, neither of these are 9, so this has to be a 5 to have the 1 above it. These can be at most, or at least 2 plus 3 plus 4, which is 9, so that has to be a 9. It's 2, 3, 4 triple, and that solves that area down there. One of these two has to be a 9, and this one has to be a 9. So, now where does 5 go in this row? Has to be one of these 3 cells, can't be that cell. And no way to determine. One of these 3 is a 5, which means one of these 3 has to be a 1, can't be that one, so that one can't be a 5. And this can't be a 5, because there's no possibility for a 1 above it. Now then, one of these 2 is a 1, and there's a 1 in one of those. And I can't get much else out of that right now, so I'm just not going to continue with that. And this can't be a 4, this has to be a 7 or an 8, because there's no 1 here, and it can't be 9. So that means the remaining ones are 2, 4, and 6. And up here I have 5, 6, 7, and 8. This one can't be a 5. This one can't be a 5. There we go. Up here I have 5, 6, 9. Like that. Over here I have 2, 4, 7, 8. Which isn't that worth it to fill, so I'm just not going to yet. If one of these two has to be a 5. Okay, so one of these 3 is a 9. Any of those could be a 9. One of these 3 is a 9. Okay. So, for the top row 5, it has to have a 9 below it. Which means for this box, it would have to be in this cell, but that breaks because of a 5 there, so it has to be in one of these two boxes. Over here, it would have to be in one of these two cells. There's a 9 over here, so it would have to be here. Which means I can actually determine that's not a 9 in that row. And over here, okay, so that's also not a 9 in that row. Because 5 has to be in one of these two, neither of which could have a 9, so that means up here, this one is a 5, and this one is a 9, and that makes that a 6, and that a 9, and that a 5, and that a 1, and I get a 4 and a 1 down here, and a 7 and a 6, and a 6 over here, and an 8 over here, and a 7 over here, and 8 could be next to either, so I can't really determine anything from that. I have a 3, 4 here, and this one's a 7. Okay. There we go. Now, then, this guy is a maximum of a 6, which 6 is obviously possible, and I think every number actually is possible between 3 and 6. Yeah, I can't see any reason why any of them would fail, so that's a 3 or 4 or a 5 or a 6. Now in this row, 5 is either here or in one of these two. And of course that's where all the 1s are lined up, so I can't really determine anything from that. And down here, 5 would be here or in one of these two, which also line up with 1s. So yeah, I don't think I'm getting anywhere with that. This column here is a 6, 8, which means this can't be an 8 because that would be a 1 and a 9, but there's a 9 here, and there also can't be a 1 or a 9 in either of those two spaces, so this is a 6 and that's an 8. And this has to be a 2 or a 3, because, yeah, I can't have multiple cells since I would need to be 1, 2, so this has to be a 2 here to make that an 8 because it can't be a 9. So that's going to tell me here a 3 and here a 2, and there's no 8 there, and there's no 2 there, which means one of these two is a 2, which isn't going to be helpful at the moment, but it will probably, actually might not be even helpful in the future, thinking about it. Okay. Now then, this one just has to be a 2, there's a 7, 8 here, a 4, 7, 8 here, but actually no 7, 8 and no 6 from there, so that's actually just a 4, which makes that a 6 and a 7 and an 8, and I can then get that, and this, and that makes these 3, a 1, a 3, and a 7, which means this one can't be a 3, it can't be a 5, and it can't be a 6, because there's no way to make those sum up to it, so it's a 1 and a 3, and that's going to be a 4 there, there's no 1s here, this has to be a 5, that's an 8, that's a 6, that's a 2, 4 pair there, okay, and I can get that. Now this has to be a 7, 9 pair there, and this one is going to be 4, 6. So I get that, no 4 there, 4 there. This is a 1, 3, 5, and that has to be a 5 because it can't be a 1 or a 3, so that's a 1 because there can't be a 9 below it, so that's a 3, and that's a 1. And this has to be the 5 because there can't be a 9 anymore in this column. This is a 2, that's a 4, that's a 3, that's a 2, that's a 4, and a 2, and there's 7s and 2s, and here's a 9, and 6 here, and then we have a 3 and a 7 in this row, so, and last stitch is an 8, so, alright, that was a nice and short puzzle, I guess, and I'll see you the next time I see you.